And a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 353 of the Hit the Ropes radio show. This is incredibly ridiculous. But welcome to episode 353 of the Hit the Ropes radio show. Hopefully, if you guys are watching live, you didn't see Courtney, making kissy face with his wife there. But welcome all of those listening live here on YouTube Live, those listening online later. We welcome you guys to another edition, man. A little later than normal, but thank you guys for sticking with us and joining us of the Hit the Ropes radio show. It's Stokes with, unfortunately, tonight I am with Courtney McIntosh, our good buddy, our good colleague, Shane Howard. Still, both he and Darius are both Floridians, still recovering from the effects of Hurricane Irma, and are both without power. So you have the dynamic Detroit duo of myself and young Courtney here for tonight's show. Courtney, man, how you doing tonight?
I am great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. What are you most excited about as we embark on this episode 353 of the world famous Hit the Ropes radio show?
Well, this is something that I'm going to spring on you. I didn't mention it during our offline talks, but Roman Reigns embracing the heel, and then Kevin Owens from Smackdown last night with Vinnie Mac. I thought it was excellent. I do have a couple of things to say about that, but I'll wait till we get there. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited because I actually enjoyed this week's wrestling television. I enjoyed Raw more than SmackDown. SmackDown was meh. But we'll discuss that later.
Yes, thank you. We'll get into all of that here as we progress throughout the show. I want to thank you guys once again for joining us for another episode. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's start a little unconventional. Let's start with the ladies. Let's talk a little Mae Young Classic. Obviously, the finals of the Mae Young Classic was it Monday night or was it yesterday?
It was last night.
It was last night. We saw the finals between Shayna Baszler. I think she's pretty well known, more so for her days in the MMA world, now trying to make her name in the professional wrestling business. So we had Shayna Baszler on one side, and we had Kairi Sane.
Yep.
Sane on the other side. I was getting her name all messed up all day, but Kairi Sane on the other side. This has been, or by all accounts, a very good tournament. Definitely has established some ladies in the women's division, could broaden what seemingly is I don't want to say watered down, but somewhat of a deflated women's division, because that women's revolution kind of started hot and this kind of fizzling, kind of needs some new names. And we think that the Mae Young Classic may bring some of those new names, to WWE television. We got introduced to many of them through this Mae Young Classic. And none other than Kairi Sane actually won the first ever Mae Young Classic. She beat Shayna Baszler via pinfall. And by virtue of her victory, she will move on to NXT TakeOver in November, right before Survivor Series, where she will challenge for the vacant NXT Women's Championship. Courtney, what are your thoughts just overall on the Mae Young Classic? I know I didn't watch in its entirety. I kind of saw bits and pieces. But what are your thoughts overall? Obviously this is something that I think we all would agree is good for the business, good for women's wrestling. What do you foresee this going forward, and what names from the tournament do you see possibly getting a shot on WWE television, whether it be NXT, Raw, or SmackDown?
First and foremost, I did enjoy. Now, I didn't watch the entire tournament. I did enjoy what I watched. I did see a lot of it through clips. I did watch the Final Four. I'm watching as we speak the finale of it. and not necessarily going to be giving my live thoughts, but I hope it gives the women's division on both shows a shot in the arm. Even though I'm only going to assume that most of these ladies are going to be they're going to be if they get signed, they're going to head straight to NXT, a la Kyrie Sane. I keep thinking Kyrie Irving whenever I say her name. I'm hoping that because let's be honest, the women's revolution started off hot, like you said, but it has fizzled out over the past year with them playing hot potato with the championship belts. If you look at it, in my opinion, Charlotte is the best woman on the main roster, and right now she's not even in the title picture on SmackDown. But obviously she's dealing with some personal things with Rick being in the hospital and things like that. So but you got to think, the women's championship has been bouncing back and forth between the same like three people pretty much for the entire on both shows for the entire year. Well, no, I can't say both shows, on Raw more than anything. So hopefully this brings some stability and an influx of talent. So that's what I'm most excited. I don't necessarily have any names of who I think they should sign. Kyrie Sane is headed to NXT. It looks like Shayna Baszler. They're really high on Shayna Baszler. Mercedes Martinez looked good. So I just hope they just sign more talent, especially to bring in the NXT and then put up to the main roster. Because if you think about it, on NXT, you pretty much have you have what, like 5 ladies that are pretty much that get run in the women's division on NXT. So but that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, definitely. And we actually, just to name drop here, because that's what we like to do here at Hit the Ropes Radio, there were actually some participants in the Mae Young Classic who have actually been former HTR guests in past episodes. Marty Bell, Mae Young. Mae Young actually, though it didn't work out, she actually was going to do it. She actually was supposed to come to that Mania event, if you remember. Yep. Back in WrestleMania, I think it was 27 in Atlanta, we did a live broadcast, live show. Mae Young was supposed to be one of the people to come out, but she didn't make it out. I think we still subsequently talked to her on other shows. But those are 2 former guests of HTR who we were happy to see shine in the Mae Young Classic. Santana Garrett may have been an HTR guest as well. I'm not 100% certain on that. Shane or Darius could probably confirm that for us if they're in the chat room. But I know that kind of in her early start in the business, we had some interactions with Santana Garrett as well. So it'll be interesting to see what names they pull over from this Mae Young Classic, kind of similar to what they did with the Cruiserweight Classic, where they brought over. Now, in that instance, though, they were trying to build an entire division. So they brought over various names. Now here in WWE, you already have an established women's division. So they probably will just add a few names here and there. Obviously, Kyrie Sane, who won, will likely be going to NXT, or she will definitely be going to NXT because she's challenging for the title. Like you said, Mercedes Martinez had a good showing. I think another person that we may have talked to or interviewed for HTR in the past. She had a good showing. Obviously, Shayna Baszler is going to get a shot. We'll talk about now. I don't want to discredit her wrestling skills because I'm sure she's getting a shot because of that. But there's also some other reasons, which we're going to talk about here shortly, that she's definitely going to stay in the picture. We could see someone like Tessa Blanchard get a shot. Obviously, the Blanchard name being the daughter of is she the daughter of Tully Blanchard?
I'm not sure. I'll check on that.
Yeah, I think she is. So her name recognition will probably get a shot. Hot Dog in the chat room says he agrees with Tessa Blanchard. He says Kaylee Ray, Shayna Baszler, Toni Storm are 4 people that he thinks should get signed if they haven't been signed already. So I think all in all, this Mae Young Classic was a win for WWE. It was a win for women's wrestling. 2 questions as we bounce off of this. Who does Kairi Sane wrestle at TakeOver for this vacant NXT Women's Championship? Initially, my money is on Ember Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Could someone like Nikki Cross get in the mix? Could the iconic duo, one of them or both of them, somehow get in the mix? You got Ruby Riott, you got a number of names, but my money's on Ember Moon. Mac, what do you think about that? Who do you think Kairi Sane will be facing at NXT TakeOver?
Okay. First and foremost, yes, Tessa Blanchard is the daughter of Tully Blanchard, stepdaughter of Magnum TA.
Yes.
But I think the only person that she should be wrestling at TakeOver is Ember Moon. Ember Moon showing against Asuka in their last match at NXT TakeOver in Brooklyn was amazing. It was the best match on the card. So I think that Ember Moon deserves that title shot and also deserves to be the NXT Women's Champion. So that's who my money's going to be on.
Yeah, we shall see if that's how it all plays out. I tend to agree with you. Usually NXT is very good at this whole passing the torch thing. They kind of do that with their titles, and it seems like Ember Moon is the next in line. I'm the NXT Women's Champion. We'll see if that comes to fruition or if Kairi Sane actually gets the title thrown on her. So, in addition to this Mae Young Classic, or in the midst of this Mae Young Classic, one of the big things that developed as a result of this, especially this weekend, a very, very popular certain MMA superstar was very prevalent and prominent throughout this entire Mae Young Classic Finals weekend, if you will. You saw her on red carpets. You saw her being interviewed by ESPN. You saw her being interviewed by WWE. I'm talking about somebody cut the lights out on me. Sorry about that. That person, of course, is one Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, of course, tight, good friends with Shayna Baszler. Was present for the semifinals and of course the finals as well to support her friend, and of course that has opened the floodgates on rumors as to whether or not Ronda Rousey will make her way to the WWE. Of course, her movie career is kind of stalled out. The MMA opportunities have kind of stalled out.
Well, I don't think those have stalled out. I just think that once she got her ass kicked last time, she's just figured, look, I've done all I can. I just don't want to get beat up anymore. So,
okay, fair enough. But in any event, not everybody, but I think many people want to see her in the WWE. WWE teased it on a little backstage segment during the Mae Young Classic. It was Ronda Rousey, and forgive me for not knowing the other 2 ladies' names, but the other 2 ladies that make up the 4 horsewomen, along with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, were with Ronda. They were doing an interview talking about how excited they were and proud they were for Shayna. And then they were interrupted by three of the WWE's finest, that being Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. And Ronda Rousey said, "You name the place, you name the time, we'll be there." And Charlotte said, "All right." And they kind of sized each other up. Ronda dropped her purse like, "You guys want to go right now?" And the other three kind of walked away. So it definitely was a good tease into what could come. I know I've heard some speculation from some other places that this may lead to some type of Survivor Series match between the MMA version of the Four Horsewomen and WWE's version. I guess the fourth person would be Sasha Banks.
I would assume
Sasha, Becky, Sasha, Becky, Charlotte, and Bayley versus Ronda Rousey and her homegirls in a Survivor Series match. So the question here is, would you like to see that, one? And two, is Ronda Rousey coming to the WWE simply just a formality at this point? Is it going to happen?
First off, shout out to Baby Tess in the background, making her appearance on Hit the Ropes. I think Ronda Rousey to the WWE is just, not if but when, definitely. Sure. I mean, if those girls are trained and are in wrestling shape, sure, I wouldn't mind seeing that. It would probably be, maybe one of the most anticipated matches on the card. But we'll see how Survivor Series shapes up. Before we start getting all that. Like I said, we don't even know. We know WWE wants Ronda Rousey. We don't know if she's signed or anything yet. We do know that they are really, really, really high on her potential. So, and they want her bad. So I just hope that if she doesn't turn into like a Brock Lesnar type thing where she only shows up sporadically. I just hope that, if she does convert and make the switch, that she jumps into it, full time. So she can actually give us something,
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I would hope that if she were to come and sign with WWE, that she wouldn't just be a special attraction as Brock Lesnar is. But I would imagine, though, that she would probably have some restrictions to her schedule. I would assume that she would still like to pursue movies and things of that nature, and would very well have some type of abbreviated schedule. Maybe not as favorable as Brock Lesnar's, but maybe something along those lines. But would I like to see her in WWE? Absolutely. I think it would be great if we got the mixed tag match with her and The Rock versus Triple H and Stephanie, which they teased a little bit at WrestleMania 31. I would love to see that. There's so much potential, really, for what you could do with Ronda. You could put her in matches with Charlotte, Natalya, Naomi. I mean, there's you could team her up with her clique and have her go against, the WWE's, again, like we talked about, version of the Four Horsewomen. So there's so many things. You got Nia Jax, you got, Alexa Bliss, so much potential for what you could do with Ronda Rousey if she did join WWE. There are rumors speculating that she has already begun training. I can't confirm those. Obviously, we know Shayna Baszler is training. One of the Four Horsewomen, if I'm not mistaken, is Roderick Strong's wife. Yeah. So I would imagine that, she probably, if she isn't already training, could get that ball rolling very quickly. And then the fourth one, like I said, I don't know much about the other two outside of Shayna and Ronda. But I would imagine that, you can get them trained and ready, for a match, let's say at Survivor Series per se. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Potentially, I think that it is inevitable that Ronda Rousey will be in WWE, if not as a full-time performer, we definitely are going to see her, at a big event, a WrestleMania, a Survivor Series, a SummerSlam, something to that effect. And we'll see her, in a WWE ring in action finally, which I think, because I still think she has appeal. I know, in MMA, you lose a couple fights and you kind of lose that mass appeal. But I think she still has some appeal. She still has something that she can offer to the WWE, and she can be a draw. Just like Brock Lesnar. He lost in UFC, and he's still a huge name in WWE. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and I brought this up last week. Brock actually got destroyed, before he made his comeback to fight Mark Hunt and, was on PEDs. But when he left initially, he got destroyed by Alistair Overeem. But, that didn't hurt him one bit.
Yeah, well, definitely didn't hurt him in WWE. And again, I think the same would apply to Ronda. I don't think her losing in the UFC would have anything, draw or take away from her potentially being a draw in the WWE. So right, we'll see how it.
Most wrestling fans are probably not MMA fans.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but I'm sure you have some who enjoy both, like one Darius Brown. But we'll see where it all goes, and we'll see what the next steps are as we progress here in the women's division in WWE. Well, once again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to episode number 353 of the Hit the Ropes radio show. We're going to shift gears and talk a little Raw, a little SmackDown.
Before we do that, speaking of women, we finally found out where Asuka will be going.
Yes, you're taking away from my thunder. We were shifting gears to Raw, and this was going to come up in the topic of discussion. But since you brought it up and we were talking about women, great segue. So let's get into it. Raw, Asuka, as you stated, Courtney, will be going to Monday Night Raw. Go ahead and make the point you were going to make.
Oh no, man, I'm just excited. I really like Asuka. I would like, and I know Darius was saying, he didn't necessarily. Really like the was it Darius? I don't know if it was Darius, but I know my boy Jerry was telling me he was tired of Asuka's winning streak. I loved it. I wanted to see it continue. I wanted, and I know this would probably they would never book it this way, but I was a fan of letting Asuka bring the NXT Women's Championship to the main roster and winning the championship to whatever show she went to and holding both titles. I just thought that would be, badass, especially the way that they were, that they booked her on NXT. She did not lose a match. The only reason why she had to relinquish the title was because of her arm injury suffered at TakeOver. So I'm ready for Asuka on the main roster.
I don't know about the whole theory of her bringing the championship to one of the shows and winning both titles. I actually would have preferred to see her on SmackDown than Raw. I think Raw already has power in the women's division. They have Becky. They have Bayley. They have Sasha Banks. They have Nia Jax. They have Alexa Bliss, who's the champion. And Raw, they have Charlotte, they have Naomi, they have Natalya. I guess it's balanced out pretty good, but I just thought maybe she would be better served on SmackDown, but she's coming to Raw. And so the question that I want to pose to you in regards to Asuka coming to Monday Night Raw is Vince going to screw this up? Because obviously Vince doesn't really he controls everything, but the creative in NXT is kind of handled and spearheaded by Triple H. And Asuka was on this phenomenal undefeated streak, NXT Women's Champion, seemingly unbeatable. Do you think she'll have those same traits? Do you think they will build her up as this unbeatable woman on Raw? Or do we see a lot of the NXT stars that get called up, they kind of flutter and flounder once they get up to the main roster? What do you see Asuka? Now, Asuka, of course, being in the women's division, probably has an easier path to a championship opportunity, say more so than, a guy who gets called up to Raw or SmackDown, it kind of has to weed their way through all the already established names that are on the roster. But what do you foresee happening to Asuka upon her call up? Well, now she's officially called up and joining Raw. How do you foresee this playing out?
Well, first, the hope is that Vince does not screw it up. Two, so let me see. So you got Sasha Banks, you got Nia Jax, you got. You got Bailey because Asuka beat Bailey for the belt. I think that
you got Emma. Don't forget
Emma.
Yeah,
oh, I forgot she started the women's revolution. Sorry. I think that especially since they're giving Emma more time, and you can see that Emma can actually really wrestle. I just hope that they keep it stays competitive, and I would like to see her carry that competitive streak. I mean, that undefeated streak for a while, because honestly, they have enough women to do it. So I wouldn't mind, her being, until she, maybe runs up against Nia Jax or somebody like that. I don't know. I don't know who would be the woman to actually, in her streak. But she is actually one of the more enjoyable women who I like to watch wrestle on the roster. So I'm looking forward to big things from Asuka once she finally makes it.
Yeah, and I was always confused. Now, was Asuka kind of like a tweener? I couldn't tell if she was a face or a heel. I think initially she was a face.
Mm-hmm.
Then she kind of played the tweener role. Then as she got towards the end of her run at NXT, she seemed to play on the heel side a little bit more, especially in her feud with Ember Moon. It always seemed like, she was the heel. So I wonder how that'll play out when she comes to Raw. Will she be this tweener, or will she be just a straight up face or heel? Although WWE says that they really don't exist anymore.
Right. Well, she was kind of a tweener. She did do some heelish things. And it's kind of like yeah, I guess I would put her in that tweener, but more face than heel. But I think they'll sell it. I think they'll try to maybe keep her as a face because hey, she does wear a mask, and they'll WWE will see a lot of money, in that the fact that they'll be able to sell a bunch of masks probably. So
you think so? I don't know that mask is like, oh my god, I just gotta have one. It's not like a Rey Mysterio mask or something like that.
Look, man, people be wearing Kalisto masks, so I don't know.
Because it's a lucha mask, man. People like there's a mystique to the lucha mask. People like to wear those masks. So I don't know that Asuka's mask will be a bestseller per se. We'll see. We'll
really,
see
bro?
How it all.
Really? I'm just noticing your lower third. Stokes the King.
There you go. Thank you. Yes, that's right. Thank you. It's nice to know you know how to read.
Maybe.
Now, so staying with Raw, we saw Brock Lesnar get virtually destroyed by Braun Strowman, the man challenging him for the Universal Championship at No Mercy, which is about a week and a half away. What are your percentages right now? If today, here we are, 10 days out from No Mercy. What are your percent chances on Braun Strowman winning the Universal Championship?
I'd say 100%. And the reason why I say that is because, I say 100%. And so the reason why I say 100% is because apparently Brock Lesnar isn't signed for any appearances after.
But what does that mean? He's been Universal Champ for quite some time, and he doesn't appear weekly. He's not on TV every week, so we know that WWE is not above allowing him to carry the title and not television.
I guess that's true. I don't know though. I think that it is, man, the way he's been being destroyed week after week by
He
Braun
being Brock.
Strowman.
He
Yes,
being Brock.
Brock. He
Okay.
being Brock, and the fact that he actually was able to hit a German suplex on Braun Strowman, and then Braun no sold it like nobody's business and just popped right up. And like it's no way Lesnar can come out on top. We've seen it. Look, man, it's like we've seen enough of Brock, in my opinion, as the champ for right now. But we've seen what Braun Strowman does to Brock, and I mean, I think if Brock wins this match, it's on, John Cena levels of, Supermandom. They have to, Brock's the, I mean, not Brock. Braun is the hottest guy they have in the company right now. Why not put what do they have against pushing,
Hotter than Bobby Roode?
Yes, hotter than Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode wasn't even on SmackDown last night. So yeah, hotter than Bobby Roode.
I think he had NXT obligations, but go ahead.
Okay. But to me is no way, shape, or form that they should not put the belt on Braun Strowman after No Mercy. So
interesting. Well, I put it at about 45% right now. I think Braun has a 45% chance to win at No Mercy. Right now, I got it 55% chance that Brock is going to retain. I just don't think that they're going to take the belt off of Brock yet. I think he's going to be champ all the way to WrestleMania. So, or if they do take it off of him, it's going to be very short-lived, and he'll win it back. So, although I think Braun Strowman is red hot, I like Braun. I like the character. I like what he does. I wouldn't mind him being champion at all. I just don't think it's going to happen at No Mercy. As of today, 10 days out, I'm going 45% chance that Braun actually wins the title at No Mercy. So
you wild.
Also, yeah, I guess so. Also on Raw, we got another verbal confrontation between John Cena and Roman Reigns, who also are facing each other at No Mercy. I don't get this, man. I said it on the show a couple of weeks ago. This is a high-profile pay-per-view match, a WrestleMania type, a SummerSlam type match. Why in God's name are they doing this at No Mercy is beyond me, but they are. So we saw another verbal confrontation between the two of them. And we also saw a verbal confrontation on Miz TV involving The Miz, who is, congratulations to him and Maurice, soon to be a dad. Him and Maurice announced on Miz TV that they were expecting, so that's great news for them.
Shout out to The Miz and Maurice for, the young king they have coming, or queen,
Yeah, and Maurice, another former guest on HTR, also a color commentator cover person back when we were doing a little written magazine. We had done it all here, Hit the Ropes. But Miz and Enzo Amore had quite the verbal confrontation at this past week, which inspired the title of our episode today, Wrestling Gets Real. We've seen lately WWE infuse some, I guess, real life elements into their promos. Roman Reigns and Cena has done it. Miz and Enzo did it on Monday night. So, what do you think about that? Do you actually like when they sprinkle in some real life elements into the promos, or would you like them to keep it scripted?
I like when they, even though from pretty much everything I've read, like the Cena and Roman Reigns promos have been scripted to it.
Right. Yes, they're scripted. Yes, yeah. But I mean, and then when I say that, I guess I don't know a better word to find, but I know they're scripted in the sense that they actually prepare them before they come out and they write them out. But they're actually using kind of some real life criticisms that people have for them when they present the promos.
Right. I enjoy that. One, it seems to make the promos come across smoother. It also seems to make it, well, it makes the promos come across smoother. But that element of realness, especially because like the first Roman Reigns John Cena promo, it was pretty much everything that people say about those two guys. So I mean, I like that. The Miz reading Enzo the Riot Act. Pretty much it seemed like the Miz was talking about all, pretty much if you read about all the heat Enzo's gotten recently, Miz was pretty much, telling it like it is. Nobody really likes Enzo.
And yeah, and Miz,
and, I mean, and Miz is
early in his career,
the best talker in the. Yep. I mean, Miz is the best talker that they have. But the way he made the comparison between himself and Enzo, I think it fit also. So I've been enjoying the realism of the promo.
Yeah, I agree. I like when they sprinkle in some of the real life stuff. Just off the top of my head, I think about promos with like The Rock and Cena back when they were feuding. I think about the promo that CM Punk and Triple H had. Maybe that was back in like 2012 or something like that, where CM Punk actually uses their real names.
Yep, when he said this isn't Triple H talking to CM Punk, this is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque.
Yeah. So that then it was like, whoa, when he said that, I just watched that a few weeks ago on YouTube, and I watched that promo, and when he said that, it's still like, man, he really went there. So yeah, I like when they incorporate some of the real elements of life in the promos. Think about Matt Hardy and Edge. I mean, there's been quite a few where some elements of their real life actually sprinkles into the wrestling life, and that actually makes for good promos and good TV. Who did you think? So let's go. This was Cena Reigns round 3, technically their third verbal sparring. How do you have it scored? If put on your boxing hat here, how do you have it scored after 3 rounds?
I have it scored 2-1 John Cena. I thought this was the first promo that Roman actually was able to give Cena some get back. But I mean, are they going to do verbal altercations every week up until
Yeah, there's definitely seemingly a concerted effort for them not to get physical. Like we haven't seen them actually get physical on air. It came close last week or this past Monday, but it didn't happen.
Okay,
I'll say this.
This is a little sidebar because it is involving the two of them. Jason Jordan has looked good the past 2 weeks, and the crowd actually popped for him. The crowd was actually behind him in his match with Roman Reigns this week.
Okay, you just said the magic words. The crowd was behind him because he was wrestling Roman Reigns, whom the crowd hates. So naturally, they were cheering for Jason Jordan because they wanted him to defeat Roman Reigns. So I don't know that we can read that much. Oh my God, Jason Jordan's getting all these pops. I will say that double Northern Light suplex move that he does
legit
is pretty sick. He did have a great match with Roman Reigns this past week on Raw. He had a decent match the previous week with John Cena. So yeah, man, Jason Jordan has all the potential in the world. I just think he needs to kind of develop, on the mic, develop that character, and sky may be the limit. For him. Personally, I'm not a fan of. I shouldn't say that. I am a fan of of the Miz's promos. I think he does a great job. But we'll see. Like I said, I think he does a good job. And we'll see where this thing goes. Obviously, him and Enzo's promo really was to promote Enzo's cruiserweight title match at No Mercy, but then of course that turned into a verbal battle between the two of them, leading to a match that night where Enzo virtually gets stumped. He's basically getting squashed in a ton of matches.
Yeah, I mean, and the only matches that he's actually been able to win, he's had to cheat in them. You know what I'm saying? Which I guess a sneaky baby face for him is good. But I just I don't see the fact that he was able to just show up in 205 Live and get a title shot speaks to how terrible 205 Live has been booked. Because they have great wrestlers down there with the cruiserweights. You got Cedric Alexander, Rich Swann, Brian Kendrick. Neville is I would probably put Neville in the top 5 guys that they have in the promotion in WWE. But they just haven't been able to. Yeah, you got some guy. I mean, Tony Nese.
He turned heel on 205 Live this week.
Who did?
Jack Gallagher.
Really?
Yes, he turned on Cedric Alexander and aligned himself with the Brian Kendrick.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just, some people are saying, oh, it's just because him and Kendrick were in a feud, beefed out. So I don't know if this is just kind of a ploy to kind of sneak in and then attack Kendrick when his guard is down, or if this is an actual legit heel turn.
Oh, hey, man, it might be. Just to jump back into the women, just real quick. I just was watching some clips of Bianca Belair from the Mae Young Classic. Bro, they got to sign her. She has a nice gimmick. She's big. And she's a heel. That braid is crazy. It's just different. And I think she's one of the girls that they should sign. But back to the
she's African American, right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
man, and Hot Dog just brought this up, dog. If Enzo wins the cruiserweight title at No Mercy, I'm gonna turn the show off at that moment.
Well, get ready to flick your TVs off, because I'm pretty sure Enzo. Well, I don't know that he's going to beat Neville. I don't know. I shouldn't say that, but it wouldn't surprise me if he beat Neville and became the new cruiserweight champion.
And the reason why it won't surprise me is because it seems that he's been the shot in the arm that 205 Live has needed.
Correct. Right, yeah, he definitely has the charisma. He definitely has the gimmick. He's very annoying. I'm not a huge Enzo fan.
Yeah, neither am I. He can talk,
but I understand why I understand the appeal, because he is good on the mic. So circling back to Cena Reigns, you scored 2-1 Reigns. I will say this.
No, I scored a 2-1.
I mean 2-1 Cena. I think people are, oh my gosh, John Cena is burying Roman Reigns. He's roasting Roman Reigns. I actually think Roman Reigns has done a good job of holding his own in these verbal sparrings that they have. I know everybody says, oh, when he doesn't have anything to say, he resorts to using cuss words, calling Cena the B word or whatever. Yeah. But I've liked Roman Reigns' promos. I actually am very confident that he's going to win at No Mercy. I think if he loses, it totally deflates any push, anything big that you had planned for Roman Reigns. I think in the same year that he beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, you have to have him beat John Cena. It solidifies him as the man. It solidifies him as the big dog. So I think Reigns has to go over. It wouldn't surprise me if WWE tried to, put Cena over, but Reigns deserves to go over. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. What do you think about, the Miz was kind of spewing some flames at Enzo Amore.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that realism? Do the athletes take that personally, or does it just roll off their backs?
I think it just rolls off their backs because, again, it's, scripted. So I'm assuming that the guys have to, they pretty much go over it back and forth. So, I mean, and so one thing that The Miz does that I actually noticed that Enzo does when The Miz is delivering promos, especially like fired up Miz promos, his facial expressions and the way he's able to convey emotion is, top notch. I mean, nobody else, to me in a WWE uses like, the whole total package of like using their face, using body language to convey their, so like and I bring that up because if you think about like Miz on Talking Smack, when it was he and Daniel Bryan going at it, excuse me, The Miz made you believe it because of one, how fired up he was, but then the fact that he was able to, contort his face and it made it seem more real. And Enzo has shown that he's been able to do that as well. I mean, when Cass first turned on him and he shed that single thug tear, but he was also able to convey that this past Monday, in my opinion. But like I said, like I don't think it went too far. Like I said, we all know that it's more than likely scripted and they go over it, before they go out there. So
yeah, definitely. So we'll see how all that pans out. Do you have anything notable that you would like to point out that occurred on Raw that we did not discuss?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
All right, well, let's shift gears.
Other than it looks like they might, I could honestly see them doing a fatal 4-way for the tag team championships at No Mercy. But
right, yeah, Sheamus, Cesaro, Ambrose, Rollins, and then who else you got? You got the Hardy Boys in there. Got Gallows and Anderson in there. So yeah, wouldn't surprise me if we saw that at No Mercy. No Mercy actually is taking place in our home. No, that's Hell in a Cell. It's taking place in our hometown on October the 8th. So I'm hoping to get to the show, man. But before we wrap up this episode here of Hit the Roast Radio, let's talk a little SmackDown. There was a little craziness.
I do want to one NXT note before we talk SmackDown. So we do know at NXT TakeOver we saw the debut of Adam Cole, Baby, along with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. It looks like they have a name. Their stable has a name, and the internet is
it's whack.
Yes, it leaves a lot.
It's very whack
to be desired. Their shirt is dope looking, but it's So if you guys did not know, the name of the faction is, drum roll please. No drum roll. Okay. The Undisputed Era. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that. The Undisputed Era.
Neither do
I. I should say, not. Yeah, it is the Undisputed Era. Like it was a mistake. They shouldn't have named it that. But I'm sure it'll grow on us as we go forward. But before we wrap up wrap up the show here, we got about 5 minutes of show left. Let's talk a little bit of SmackDown. Obviously, there were a couple of big things that happened. Most notably, the confrontation between Kevin Owens and Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon announced that Kevin Owens would be facing Shane McMahon inside of Hell in a Cell, which is indeed taking place in our hometown, and we can attend if we so choose. Mm-hmm. Also,
I enjoyed this Vince promo, by the way. Also,
yeah, Vince did a good job. Also, on a more disturbing side, oh boy, I lost my train of thought. Not disturbing side. I lost my train of thought. Oh no! So yeah, oh yeah, okay. So we had the confrontation between Vince and KO, and then we also had the New Day reclaim the tag team title. So they're playing hot potato with the Usos. So give me your thoughts on both the confrontation between KO and Vince, and the New Day being the new again tag team champions.
Well, the tag team championship, out of the three championship matches that were on the card, the tag team match was by far the best. The women's, man, that was that was a bad match, with the Ellsworth and Carmella interference on the outside. I wasn't a fan of Naomi beating, of Natalya beating Naomi for the belt in the first place. And then, you have Ty Dillinger in a match with AJ Styles for the U.S. Championship, and it's only 7 minutes long, and it's only a setup for Baron Corbin to be the next challenger for the U.S. champion. But once again, the New Day...
No issues with that.
Yeah, no, I guess not. And it also... but the New Day and the Usos, once again, put on a stellar match. This wasn't as good as the SummerSlam match, but it was good because of the chemistry they have. It was, man, I love the Usos, especially heel Usos. They just have a charisma and a swagger about them. But the New Day plays the perfect foil to those guys. So I don't mind the belt playing, going hot potato back and forth between those two, because I think they've head and shoulders put themselves. Well, they're pretty much the only tag team really on SmackDown, But
but that's the problem, man. You gotta establish some more tag teams on SmackDown. You can't just have two teams competing against each other week in and week out. Obviously, you might see Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin get a shot at some point. They had another good showing. It looks like they're getting ready to break up the Hype Bros.
Yeah.
So
oh my goodness, that they teased 6 months ago the first time.
Yeah. So needless to say, they have to do something with the tag team division to kind of shore it up and get it to more than just the Usos and Lord Jesus. I'm getting tired, man. It's late. The Usos and the New Day. So we'll see though. We'll see. Obviously, I was not expecting. Hot Dog kind of alluded to this in the chat room by saying shout out to Vince for taking those bumps last night. Yeah. I did not anticipate Vince was going to get a beat down like that.
Man, neither did I.
By KO. Even Drew Blood, which we know is a general no-no on WWE television, but
that headbutt was crazy, bro.
It always does something to the emotions, gets you fired up. That's why I think they should bring it back. But whole PG thing. But
I think you got to put Vince in the concussion protocol right now.
Yeah, he took a beat down, man.
Not only the headbutt, which was crazy stiff, but the super kick. And then, bro, Kevin Owens is 272 pounds.
And then the frog splash.
Frog splash on a 72-year-old man.
Yeah.
But you know what, dog? But you know who I have a bone to pick with in that? Where was Triple H? We knew Triple H was there. We know Trips was there. Yeah. Where was he to protect the grandfather of his children, his father-in-law?
Now I wonder. Now Stephanie came out,
right,
and she kind of confronted KO. They could do a couple. They could go a couple of different ways with this. That KO is the henchman, and Stephanie and Triple H are trying to take over, trying to force Vince out. They could play this a couple of ways. They could go your route as well. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same match Shane had last year. I just hope they don't try to recreate the same spots. I think he'll be able to do a lot more in the ring with Kevin Owens than he could do with the Undertaker. So.
Okay. All right. Well, Well, we'll see. We'll see. It'll make out to be an interesting match. I hope to see the Kevin Owens Shane McMahon Hell in a Cell match live and in living color, because Hell in a Cell is taking place in Detroit. So it'll be awesome to go check out the new Little Caesars Arena and see how that all turned out. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Well, that wraps up. Wow, that was a quick hour. That wraps up episode 353 of the Hit the Ropes Radio Show. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us, for listening in. Be sure to tune in next week, as we'll bring you another edition of Hit the Ropes Radio, likely at our regularly scheduled 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure, if you prefer the podcast is generally up on our website, thevc.com. Also, check out some of the articles on thevc.com. We talk sports, news, entertainment, business, tech, a lot of different things, and as they relate to American culture at large, but also African American culture. So be sure to check out thevc.com. Be sure to, if you haven't already, follow us on Twitter at Hit the Ropes. Follow us on Facebook at Hit the Ropes Radio as well. Courtney, do you have anything to add before we sign off for the evening?
I don't, which is rare for me, because normally I do.
Which is a shocker, man. Well, for Courtney and Stokes, we'll see you guys next week. Sending prayers and shout outs and well wishes and good thoughts to all of our people in Florida and Houston and everywhere else that was still affected by the hurricane. Specifically, Shane and Darius, they got a lot of business to take care of, getting power back on and things back in order. So sending shouts out and well wishes to those gentlemen and everyone in Florida and Houston. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. But until next week, have a great week. Peace.
Peace.